Steak.
right, good evening, everyone. We're going to get started at 7 o'clock. First order of business is to please rise for the pledge. Oh, I'm sorry, Derek. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone could just please remain standing. We're going to have a moment of silence for Lucille McGinn. I believe she was a para at Money School.
Reading tutor also.
35 years, and she truly made a difference with Bungie Elementary. She served under Vince Mello, Mary Sue Feige, and now Lauren Reed, and what a difference she made in children's lives.
Thank you, Mary Sue. You were going to say a few words?
Yes, thank you. Honoring Lucille McGinn. For over 35 years, Lucille was a cherished part of our Bungie school community. She loved the school, its staff, and most of all, the students. She played an instrumental role in organizing the Senior Mentor Program, creating meaningful connections across generations. And every holiday season, she truly embodied the spirit of giving as the best Mrs. Santa we could ever ask for. Lucille took great pride in making Bungie a wonderful place to be, ensuring our school was not only beautiful, but also a warm and welcoming environment for everyone. More than anything, Lucille was a beautiful person, a dear friend to me and to so many. Her kindness, dedication, and love will always be remembered, and she will be truly missed. Lucille, we love you. Thank you.
All right. Next up, introductions. Hello, everyone.
Kristen Bruno, Board Vice Chair.
Jay Hatfield, Board Member.
Lori Nestle, Board Member.
Caitlin Hamilton, Senior Board Representative.
Jeremy Tomaszewski, Junior Board Representative.
Shannon Levy, Board Clerk.
Dr. Compton, School Superintendent.
Kristen Harmling, apologize for being a little choked up about Mrs. McGinn. My children really had the benefit of experiencing her love and care. So, Kristen Harmling, Board Member.
Ed Stramello, board member, and I had the pleasure of working with Lucille also. Wonderful woman.
All right. Item 2, an update on the Bungay Building Committee. I believe there was a meeting last Tuesday. I kind of encourage everybody to stay up to date with that and involved with that. Hopefully, once the vote comes around, we'll get a lot of support for it. And if Mr. Melly, you have anything from the last meeting?
Well, we had more discussions about, and we had some questions from downtown about the difference between renovated new and build new. And we were able to answer most of those questions. And I concur with Mr. Champagne. We need to get the vote out. And I encourage all sides of town, not just the Bungay side of town, to come out and support when we go to the referendum. And I was remiss the last time, not just parents, but grandparents and community members, because a new school benefits all people, not just the students and the parents and the teachers. It's a boost for the whole community. So please, when that comes around, please make sure you get out the vote. And I'll say please again.
All right. All right, like we do every month, we have our champion recognitions, and this month it is for students who show integrity, and we have Bungay School up first. next, Chatfield and Presti.
Feel welcome and included. She is a great example of living your life with integrity.
Okay, is your mom, dad here? Yep. Come on up here.
So you can see. Over there.
Thank you.
Oh, we got one more.
One more.
Are you brother?
I'm not cool.
Oh, you locked it?
You're the brother, right? Get up here. Want somebody else?
We'll take the picture.
Okay.
Come over here. Thank you. There we go. That's a win-win.
Oh, I like that. There we go. Perfect, thank you.
Congratulations.
Want me to do the other one? Sure. Okay, so Drew, come up. So I have the pleasure of knowing Drew's siblings, so it's no surprise to me that he'd be up here for integrity. He was nominated by his second grade teacher, Mrs. Borelli, and she said that Drew is her nominee for a student who shows integrity. Since the start of the year, she observed Drew to be a kid who always tries to do the right thing. She watched him make difficult choices among friends by choosing what's right rather than always choosing what's fun. He plays fair in games, follows the rules, and stands up for his classmates who were left out. Drew recently showed his honesty when he found a rare $2 bill in the hallway during dismissal. He could have kept it for himself and no one would have known. Instead, Drew chose to turn that $2 bill into the office, hoping it would make its way back to its rightful owner. These examples prove that Drew has a strong sense of integrity.
Very good. So proud of him. All of them, right over there beside him.
Beautiful.
Delaney Christiani. Delaney Christiani of the 6th grade Purple Team. Delaney is a responsible and conscientious student who consistently demonstrates integrity in and out of the classroom. She is always willing to help her teachers and classmates, ensuring support and contributes to a positive learning environment. Delaney values her education, taking initiative by proactively reaching out to her teachers when she is absent to ensure she stays on top of her assignments. She consistently makes the right choices and leads by example. Congratulations.
We love your sweatshirt about be cool and be kind.
I like that.
I know Lori definitely loves this. Parents, come on up.
Congratulations. Stand next to your door.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Olivia Parada. Olivia Parada of the 8th grade Gold Team. Olivia is a student of strong character who can always be counted on to do the right thing. She is trustworthy, dependable, and exercises sound judgment in all of her decision-making. Olivia is highly motivated, consistently striving to do her best. She arrives to class prepared, ready to learn, and serves as a role model for her peers through her dedication and integrity. Congratulations.
And sister.
Congratulations. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You good?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Last but not least, Seymour.
Hi, I'm Steph Mordawanek. I'm a para at the high school. And I nominated Scott. During a heartbreaking time in my life, Scott demonstrated exceptional integrity that I will never forget. When my father passed away in the middle of the night, Scott arrived at my house with his father, who owns a cremation business. Despite the uncomfortable situation, Scott handled himself with respect and sensitivity. His ability to act with integrity in such a challenging situation that I'm sure many students and educators have not had to endure speaks volumes about his character. Ever since that day, every time I see Scott in the hallway, he always makes it a point to say hello and ask how I am. Scott exemplifies what it means to be a person of moral character.
All right, you have to stand in front of him because.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, he's grown up on us. I know. Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is celebration of School Board Appreciation Month. So on behalf of the Seymour staff, administration, and parents and school community, Shannon Levy has prepared this along with myself, and it's just a way to show a token of appreciation about what our boards do. So I'd like to present this to them in their service in appreciation of Board Appreciation Month for March 2025. We declare appreciation to the members of the Seymour Board of Education and proclaim the month of March to be School Board Recognition Month. Thank you for all that you do in supporting our students, our staff, administration, and also for holding us accountable from me on down. So I just want to say thank you, because this means a lot. It used to be January was always School Board Appreciation Month, and now it seems to be moved across the country. In many places, it's March. So I'm going to give each of you that. And also, on behalf of the town, our first elect woman, Anna Marie DeGronis, has put together a wonderful proclamation that is there in front of you, Mr. Champagne.
Oh, you want me to read it?
Yes, I think
Oh,
that
it's a
would
long-
be nice.
Yeah, it's a long one.
Okay, but it's,
Okay, proclamation, Town of Seymour, 2025 Board of Education Member Appreciation Month. Whereas March 2025 marks Board of Education Member Appreciation Month, a time to recognize the crucial role that public education plays in fostering economic growth and ensuring stability within Connecticut and beyond. And whereas the mission of the public schools is to meet the diverse educational needs of all children and to empower them to become competent, productive contributors to a democratic society and ever-changing world. And whereas local school board members are committed to children, believe that all children can be successful learners, and that the best education is tailored to the individual needs of each child, and local school board members work closely with parents, educational professionals, and other community members to create the educational vision we want for our students. And whereas local school board members are responsible for ensuring the structure that provides a solid foundation for our school system, and local school board members provide an environment that encourages enthusiasm for learning among our children enrolled in Seymour Public Schools. And whereas local school board members are strong advocates for public education and are responsible for communicating the needs of the school district to the public and the public's expectations to the district. And whereas these volunteer representatives serve Seymour's children well, giving tremendous time, energy, and dedication, and have greatly contributed to the future of this community, state, and nation. And then this last bit is from the First Select Woman. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Anne Marie Dragonis, First Select Woman of the town of Seymour, do hereby declare my appreciation to the members of the Seymour Board of Education and proclaim the month of March 2025 as Board Member Appreciation Month, and encourage all citizens to join me in recognizing the dedication and hard work of local school board members and in working with them to mold an education system that meets the needs of both today and tomorrow's children.
Okay, thank you so much. She was unable to attend. She had a meeting at 6 o'clock this evening and another meeting at 7. We're going to ask the parents if you'll stay just for the student reports, and then you can leave. I think it'd be nice to hear a student present, and then the rest of you go home. Okay?
All right, so National Honor Society, we'll start off with that. Our members are actively working to host a school blood drive and organize an annual decathlon, which will probably take place in April. For Student Council, they've organized an ongoing food drive, and they're going to discuss at their next meeting the NEASC survey results with Mr. Lucky and try to provide some student insight. And finally, they're beginning to organize a Powder Puff game that is hopefully going to occur in April or late spring. Our Hope Club will be taking on the responsibility of planting in the planters boxes in the rock garden of our school. And during the month of March, they hope to participate in assisting at the This Is Me Inclusion Walk, helping fill snack bags for the Food to Kids program, and being docents for the third graders at the Historical Society. Our Kindercats in the month of March will be bringing the study of how to grow plants for the kindergartners. Seniors will assist their buddies in planting flower seeds in milk cartons and creating a plant journal where the kinders will keep track of their seeds' growth over the next 2 months, and they'll create a flip book that shows the parts of a plant. Our sports teams, the state tournament has began this past Saturday for the boys and girls. Our girls team defeated Montville, and our boys team defeated Weaver. They both now have advanced to the second round of the tournament, and they'll both play tomorrow at home. The girls will be at 5 p.m. and the boys will be at 7 p.m. Our boys swim team will compete in NBLs this Friday at Kennedy High School. And our dance team recently took second place in the state for kick, and our cheerleading team placed third place at their state championship this past Saturday at Trumbull High School. They had an outstanding performance and were against 21 other Class S teams from Connecticut. And 2 of our athletes, Morgan Walters and Mackenzie Baker, also received All-State for their talent in cheerleading. Our cheerleading team also qualified to compete at Team of the Year competition, which will be held March 8th. And they also qualified for regionals on March 22nd at Worcester State University.
Alrighty, and then yearbook, they've been working diligently to create the book for the students. Currently, they're working on the senior section, senior photos, senior quotes, and senior superlatives. I can't say that word. Yeah, that. Art club, some students are working independently while others are helping make the stage for the upcoming performing arts show. Spanish club, they're brainstorming for their multicultural day, organizing tables and the volunteers, along with setting up the games and shows. They're also talking about taking a possible cultural field trip. Newspaper, our articles are due March 17th with the issue coming out around April 4th. This issue will highlight things such as Freud's retirement interview, the Charter Revision Commission experience, and so much more, including art from the students. Future Business Leaders America, in February we took our tests, if you had a test, for the conference while other people are getting ready for the events, which you actually do at the conference. And then the conference is March 18th at Southern Connecticut State University. And then finally, it's not a club, but myself, Jeremy, and Ryan Sadek are student representatives on the Charter Revision Commission for the town of Seymour.
Very nice.
Yeah, while I was giving my presentation, I saw you walk out. Got anything to say about charter revision?
It's going good. We just started the actual charter. Everything up to that has been organizing, and there was a special hearing and the logistical steps, but it's going good. They seem very ambitious, and I did swiftly run away because you guys were doing the budget meeting. And I was like, I'm gonna flee.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for our student reps? All right.
Great job.
Just going to call for public comment and then give you guys a couple minutes to leave if you want. So anyone from the public like to make a comment? Public comment going twice. Third call for public comment. All right, public comment is closed. You're more than welcome to stick around. We encourage it, but if you have other places to be, we'll give you a couple minutes to disperse.
Originally, is that you guys? Yeah. Oh, okay, awesome. That's why you didn't run away.
Yeah, so we're both in student council, and this is where we started talking about it. We're going to propose that the required credits for the Seymour High School to be changed. Currently, all students are required to take a minimum of 6 credits a year. This means that they are allowed 2 full study halls, because it's 8 periods. So our proposal is to change that the credit requirement to be 7 credits for freshmen and sophomores, 6 for juniors, and 5 for seniors, which will allow the seniors to leave early, missing only study hall, in order to get involved outside of school. Nowadays, people want to see real-world applications when applying to jobs in college. Getting out before 2 p.m. would allow these students to take on internships, work at jobs, and something may be happening during the workday. This also allows them to work their own jobs maybe sooner than that in order to save for college and get that real-world experience.
Okay, and then furthermore, the juniors and seniors are often the ones who are taking more rigorous APs. Freshmen, I don't believe, can take APs, and most of the time sophomores only take 1 in the history APs, so either Gov, Psych, or Euro. And I think third guys only take 1 just because of the workload. So on top of APs, there's also online classes at post-university, which a lot of students are starting to get involved in. And these classes with APs and the post-university's classes are literally college courses. These classes typically take up more time outside of the classroom in terms of homework. So being able to manage this on top of working a job or being a student athlete can become a lot harder due to the fact that you're in school from 7:30 till 2 p.m. So if you have school 7:30 to 2 p.m. and then you go home and do a practice or you go to a game and say you also have a shift at work, like you have no time in order to do these classes, which then are disadvantaging our juniors and seniors because it shouldn't be their fault that they don't have the time for it. They should be able to have that as opportunities, especially when most of the time a lot of juniors and seniors have finished their required credits. So they're taking a lot of like fluff classes just to get to that 6 credit minimum. So overall, this method would open up a lot of doors to students in order for them to get into fields in terms of internships, in terms of jobs, and also to simply be able to take more rigorous classes that their schedule otherwise would not allow.
What do you think, Chris?
So, I 100% agree with the students. It also falls in line with the vision. If we end up eventually getting a cooperative work education teacher, it will align perfectly with seniors being able to go out and do the job shadows and internships. Because 3 out of 4 days, period 7 or 8, are locked in at the end of the day, and then we can schedule for that. Plus, as I said, if kids have jobs, they already met most of their credit requirements, if I already force them to take extra credits, and they can leave early, go do the jobs, go do the internships. Exactly what they said, post-university is offering a plethora of courses to take independently now, once they get through a couple of the ones that our teachers taught in the building, so they can utilize that time to take those online, basically at will. There's a couple of other online resources for taking courses. So there is a couple other high schools within 15, 20 minutes that kind of have that graduated credit requirement. We're not changing that we still need 26 in the end, we're just changing the requirement of having 6 all 4 years or more, so that it gives the flexibility for senior year and kind of aligns with where we want to go.
I think the flexibility is great, and it also we work with 21st century learning and where high schools are going, and especially with apprenticeships and capstone projects and really being out there in an internship capacity. I think that makes sense.
There are some high schools that have a really robust shadow and more especially internships, and they're granting credits for that. So, for example, Amity High School, their kids go out and they can do some internships, and they're getting credits for doing the internship, and they're leaving, about 12 o'clock to go do those. And that would, again, if we go that route, it'll help us align and set up for that in the future.
And I can definitely talk about the post-university classes. I took those my sophomore year, then I continued my senior year. So currently I will graduate with 21 credits at post-university, because they're 3 credits each. But the advantage is that they're cheaper and they're still college level. They're 8-week accelerated online courses. But the disadvantage is that due to the fact that I also take UConn at Seymour High School and I only have 2 study halls, is that I can only take 1 per quarter because I simply just don't have the time and I don't want to overload myself. But if I had like more study halls and such, like I'd be able to take it. Some of my friends were like, no, I can't do that. I've already taken 2 or 3 APs. Like I'm not going to have the time to do all the work. So it's definitely a situation. And there's a lot of seniors who, at least speaking from my perspective, you get to take a class this junior year and you're like, I only need like 4 credits to graduate. Like, I really gotta be here from 7:30 to 2 p.m. Like, I need like an English, a pottery, like type of thing, like random things that I haven't done yet. But like, and now you're taking the like, I guess I'll take marketing because I gotta get to 6 credits type of thing. When you could have been using that time to do something that may benefit you more than a random class that you don't really want to be in.
All right, so I think this, what would we do here? Go to curriculum and technology or?
Policy. Policy, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Policy.
It's 100%, there's a policy that says we have to go 6 for it.
Yeah, well, we're starting to meet once a month, so maybe we'll have you guys come to one of those lovely meetings. We can talk about that at the end and just sit.
Put it on the agenda, so.
And that's not saying that we would, obviously, they could take 8 classes.
Absolutely.
If they want.
And we're not changing the total credit requirement or the categories that they need to take. So nothing changes from that perspective. It's just we need to change the language. Well, if you would like to change the language, from 6 for a year to 7, 7, 6, and 5. Just graduating.
I just had a question. If you think back to your first year in high school, is it a lot if you're just getting used to being in school? Is it going to set some kids? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, no.
I think, well, I had like one because I took bio honors and that has that block. So one every 4 days you have a study hall. But other than that, I don't think I had a study hall. And I think sophomore year, I maybe had a full year. If even, I had the same thing like with the, like you have one every 4 years because I had honors, Chem honors. But I think I maybe had like one full year out of that. Like you don't really take because you're taking like freshmen. I don't think freshmen can take APs. I have no idea. I don't think so. No.
Well, they could take down the road possibly to psychology.
They could take the first post-university course
Yeah.
freshman year, which would then qualify them after the second one to do exactly what you did and start taking post-university at will. So there's 2 requirements to be able to do that.
I really support this proposal because I think it's incredibly important for freshmen to have 2 study halls. It just does not get them into school mode. It doesn't actually help them with time management. And then if they start out with 2 study halls freshman year and sophomore year, they have no room to kind of fail.
I took 7 freshman year, and it was like almost a wake-up call.
Yeah.
You gotta really, school is more important.
Yeah, so I think it's, I love that you guys came to us with this.
Next policy.
We'll move it forward through the hoops.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, special ed report, Dr. Boyle. You're on deck.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I've put together for this evening an update on trend data for special education going back the last 6 to 7 years, depending on what data was available from the state of Connecticut, just to show trends, how our department has grown. Happy to stop and answer questions as we go, so please let me know. So just to start, I just wanted to give a picture because every month you get enrollment data, but it's easy to lose the forest through the trees in terms of where we stand in comparison to other districts throughout the state of Connecticut. This is a representation of October 1st data, which is the state's special education snapshot, where we are in relation to our percentage of students with IEPs in comparison to the total population. As you'll see, going back to 2016-17, we tend to be 1 percentage point or thereabouts below the state average, and that trend pretty much has continued since, although I'll be interested to see a year from now when they come out with updated data, our numbers for special ed identifications have gone up fairly rapidly this academic year. I'm anticipating us to be closer to 17.0 or 17.1 for this past October 1 snapshot, but I'm not sure where the state is going to fall in relation to that as well. But we're currently, as of the 23-24 school year, approximately 16% of our students have IEPs. This doesn't include 504s, which is different statutes. But these are the students that we have we're programming for. This is the percentage of students that are placed in out-of-district placements. So of our special ed identified students, the state average is the red. Current data shows about 12.6% from most districts are placed at out-of-district placements. This isn't just therapeutic placements. I just want to be clear. This also is students attending other schools, whether that's, doesn't include tech schools, but it would apply to magnet schools, charter school, magnet schools and VOAC types of programs or some other sort of public high school experience.
The state average right now is about 12.5% of students go to a school other than their own public school. We're about 8.8% right now. So we're trending a little bit lower. Looking at our academic standing for our special ed identified students, when I first took this position 7.5 or so years ago, we were actually being cited by the state for the achievement gap for our third graders in ELA specifically. You'll see that out of all the grade levels, our greatest amount of growth is in third grade because we put a lot of resources into that level at that point in time to make sure that we didn't continue to have that level of discrepancy between our special ed identified students and their regular peers. So we were audited here by the state. We put in a lot of professional development for our special education teachers, different reading programs specifically. We had additional training in things like Wilson reading, other reading programs like visualizing and verbalizing, Morton Gillingham, things along those lines. And you'll see the trajectory over time has actually been pretty solid. We are showing upward trends in 4th and 5th grade as well, but not quite to the same degree as our 3rd graders. So this is data that I started reviewing with our staff this past fall to see if we could replicate some of the growth that we're seeing at 3rd grade across other grade levels. So this is English language arts for 3rd, 4th, and 5th on the Smarter Balance. This is the same group of students, special ed identified students in the area of math. We're also seeing really nice growth with our 3rd graders in math. We are seeing positive trends with 4th and 5th, but not quite the same degree of growth. So again, this is something that we're continuing to look at to see if we can continue to accelerate our growth for our special ed identified students in math. And then this is middle school data, so 6th, 7th, and 8th. We've been relatively flat, maybe even with our 7th grade population, a little bit of a downward trajectory. So again, this is data that I received with our special ed teachers earlier this academic year, back in September, to see if we can identify this. These are trends that we've talked about at various points at the board level too, just looking to bolster some academic progress at the middle school level in general. This is specific to special ed identified students. So I do want to see us look for more professional development opportunities at the middle school level for ELA and also similarly for mathematics. This trend is relatively flat, even that little bit of a decline. That's something that we need to definitely address. And then SAT data for ELA, again, a little bit of an upward trend, but it's not sufficient in my mind. We want to look to see if we can bolster some of these for our special ed identified students, some of these data points in ELA and in math. Again, and then this is just to give you a better representation of where we are against other districts throughout the state. So approximately of our current population, about 16.2% of our students are performing in the level 3 or level 4. This, I think, also is data that we need to look at because we don't have enough students that are special ed identified achieving at the higher levels on tests like Smarter Balance. So before the data was for raw data, this is more categorical data. So level 3 and level 4, the meeting and exceeding grade level expectations on the Smarter Balance. These are data points too that I want to make sure that we're highlighting because we have to get start moving students from level 2 to level 3 or level 3 to level 4 to continue to advance. So again, these are data points that we're looking at within the special ed department. Too many of our students right now are performing at level 2. We have had a lot of growth programmatically in the district, which I appreciate because that comes from the support of the board. Comparing 2016 to now, we've had an increase of 27.5% number of students with IEPs. Again, by next year, we're bordering on having 400 or so students with IEPs right now. We've also had an increase of 21% with our students with out-of-district therapeutic placements. But what we have done in the last several years is really look to develop our continuum in district to try to keep kids in district. So we're back in 2016, we only had 2 preschool classrooms, 1 ABA at the elementary. So that's predominantly students with autism. There's a few other disability categories that we service in our ABA program. And then we have a high school vocational program. We've expanded preschool, we've expanded elementary ABA, we've built middle school and high school ABA, we built REACH, we built an alternative at the middle school, and we built an alternative at the high school. All with the idea that if we can create programming continuums here in the district, we can keep kids in the district instead of having to look at therapeutic placements out of the district. We've also looked to increase the number of special ed teachers over that time. So we have 9 additional special ed teachers that we didn't have back in 2016. So that part of building programming in district over the same course of time, this represents the total percentage of funds that we're spending. So out of 100% of funds for the district, the state average is 25% of funds go to special education. And back in 2017, that's about exactly where we were. Over time, it's not that our costs haven't increased because they have, but it's at a rate less than that of the gains for the entire district. So coming out of a larger bucket every year, we're not increasing at the same rate as the total budget. So currently we're spending, as of the 22-23 school year, 22.5%. So at current rate, we're continuing to decrease the percentage of that pie that we're spending on special education funds. So that's in part due to us creating more programs in district so that we're not the current out-of-district therapeutic placement across the state is approximately $150,000 in tuition. For every student that we're able to keep in district, we can expand programs and provide more opportunities for a greater number of students, which is a great thing.
Is this a percentage of the total budget that is registered with the town that is paid out of state ECS and taxpayer dollars, or is it also inclusive of federal grants?
This does not include the federal grant monies.
And the growth in our programs, is that all attributed to, again, state and taxpayer, local taxpayer money, or does the growth also rest upon federal grants, or can be attributed to federal grants?
So the majority of the funds that we're spending are LEA funds.
Okay.
So right now we have approximately $570,000 in IDEA grant funds. Of that, 78% right now goes, and that's just for the students from K and up. I'm not including the 619, the preschool grant, but of the 570 right now, 78% goes to salaries, special ed teacher salaries. The rest of it goes predominantly to instructional supplies and what we call pupil services. So it's all of the consultations that we have and all the independent evaluations that we have. So if we have a student that needs a neuropsychological eval or a psychiatric eval or some other type, but that's the highest probability, that's where those funds go. Right now, we don't have additional tuition funds coming out of the IDEA grant, but it gets rewritten every year, so it's not to say that future grants might not take a portion of those tuition funds. So right now, all of the as far as like therapeutic placements, predominantly that's all coming out of the LEA budget.
problem is the federal funding has never increased. It's been flat for a long time. They've never increased it like they should. Our biggest problem is what many other school districts are facing throughout Connecticut, not just Connecticut, throughout the country. The number of special ed students are increasing, from the most autistic child to, and also you can have gifted children who are autistic or whatever other categories. But the problem is the enrollments in a lot of school districts have went down, but still the number of special ed enrollment is increasing. We just got to be careful with the balance. Our biggest problem is the state is not funding what we need for special education. And I know you've seen on the news, you've seen the articles about the $40 million and how it's so needed. They did pass it in the House, they passed it in the Senate. Right now, the governor's possibly vetoing it. So
He did veto it.
he did veto it today, or whatever, the last update.
I think they're gonna override it, though.
Yeah,
They
so
do have
let's,
the votes, it seems, to override the
good.
veto, because it was overwhelmingly voted in at the state level. But,
yes, it was. So that's kind of what we're dealing with right now. They know too from CABE, the number one priority has been to really look at special education funding. Because when you look at the percentage of our budget and the increases, we have decreased in the amount of kids out of district. But one of the things that the Valley superintendents, we were supposed to have had a meeting 2 weeks ago and it got canceled because Dr. Conway was presenting at one of the state education committees to the legislators. We do plan on meeting again. It's also looking at what type of regional programs that we could host or have amongst the Valley. So it's been long discussion. So they are going to be coming, we're rescheduling it, and it is going to be hosted here at Seymour. So that's going to be a good conversation and just very much needed because, everything's increasing and we're not getting the amount to meet the needs.
And an extra 40 million is just a drop in the bucket.
Yes, it is. It
Even in-
doesn't
even in
even, when
little old
you spread it out, right, yeah.
My big takeaways, I'm very proud of the work that our staff have done since, in the last 8 years. I think that we're servicing, a lot more students with a lot more needs in district, which is great for everybody. I think it's great for students to be able to be in schools with their neighborhood peers that they might be involved in Little League or soccer or dance or martial arts with. And I think we're providing a real quality experience for our students. I think it helps the taxpayers as well from a budgetary standpoint that we're able to do more in district. I think where our focus right now is really looking to improve some of the academic outcomes for some of our students, particularly moving kids from that level 2 band that I referenced up into the level 3 band. I also looking right now at our identification rate that isn't reflected on here because this is more historical data, but I'm looking at this year's data. And I think in part we're looking at, as we've changed our reading curriculum to being a little more focused on certain areas, it's identifying a number of students that have skill deficits that need support, which is affecting our special ed identification rate, but I still need to drill down on some of that data a little bit deeper. But I think there's a lot to be proud of within our department. I'm very blessed, and I would compare our special ed department, the staff, to any of our neighboring districts. I'm very proud of the hard work that they put out, so.
You said that we have increased the number of staff over the last few years.
Correct.
Are those increases all teachers, or have we also increased, speech and psychosocial work?
We have not increased psych or social work. We have had an increase in speech and language by a person. And then that also reflects an increase by one of an inclusion facilitator position, because back in 2016-17, we had one, and then the board helped to support the department with an extra inclusion facilitator 3 years ago, I believe it was. So that's also reflected in that number, but for the most part of the increase, those those are all additional special education teachers.
And we did increase a .5 speech pathologist because of the increase in preschool. With what we have, we're doing the best we can because we have to think holistically K-12 and the services. There is a psychologist at every school. It didn't always used to be that way. It used to be shared here, the middle school and, shared with one of the elementaries.
Correct.
Yeah, Mark.
No, but I can give someone else
Oh,
a turn.
I can't
I was just wondering if
remember.
this was the last slide.
I think it is. Yep.
Okay, great, thanks.
I don't know who said it. It might have been you. Might have been, I don't know. We've been at a lot of meetings today this past week. You said a therapeutic outplacement is about 150,000. Has there ever been like any research or looking into having teachers? Because the cost is the same, if not less, to hire a teacher with benefits than sending a student to another school, which those tuition rates just keep going up and up and up. Have we ever taken a look at that?
We have. Typically now, the students that have historically been outplaced were, at least over the last 4 or 5 years, the majority, probably 3/4 of the students being outplaced were secondary level students with social emotional behavioral needs, which is why the board supported last year the addition of the RISE program at the middle school and the CATS program at the high school. So while that may not meet 100% of those needs, it's a high probability area that we're hoping to keep further out-of-district placements down. So the way that I view it, when we create a program in district, it's more to keep students that are in the district, to keep them in district. It gives us an avenue to, when students that are already out of district, when they're ready to transition back, then it gives us an avenue to support them to transition back, but I don't see it as necessarily a replacement for those students that are already out. So I think the benefits of having the alternative programs for the middle school and the high school will start to be felt, in the next couple of years as students are graduating out and we're not continuing to outplace students. So,
Gotcha.
I think we have seen some of that this year, that there have been some successes that students that were potentially, their trajectory was that they needed a higher level of care, we have been able to provide appropriate supports in the district. And we are looking actively that next year perhaps being able to bring, we have 2 students graduating out, perhaps 2 other students, maybe 3 students bringing back to district, depending on how the next 3 or so months play out for them. So we are going to start to see some benefit. Right now, it's hard to justify that spending the money on staff, you don't actually see the costs. It's more opportunity costs. It's costs that you're averting for the future that you're not seeing an immediate positive impact. It's projected data that we would have had additional students that were outplaced. And that's hard sometimes to quantify for the community, I understand. But
In another situation, like he said, the numbers have been more with the middle school and the high school of the kids that the majority percentage that is out-of-district placement. The problem is that some kids, severe needs, needing very therapeutic and just a lot of services, one teacher can't take care of all of that. So that is for severe cases. We have had, actually, we've had a few, at least 3 since I've been here from the elementary level, who have had to be placed out of district based upon behaviors and some issues that to better meet their needs. And sometimes that has to happen, but the win-win is when we can send them and then bring them back. But, they're all our children. Like I said, everybody has unique needs. And of course, the IEP drives what they are to have. But it's about us trying to provide the best services that we can and looking at just the growing increases of costs too. And that's with everything.
And even if you look at, not encapsulated in this report, but encapsulated in that other document that I produce on a monthly basis, the increase that you see in our therapeutic placements this year, by chance, in a sense, the only reason that our numbers have increased this year is because we've had 3 students for non-educational reasons have gone because of things that have been happening in the community through medical providers to therapeutic placements for non-educational reasons. So that does affect the cost that we're spending, the percentage of the cost that we're spending on those students, because we're not paying the residential portion. We're still responsible for the academic portion of that cost. But those are not PPT decisions. They're really we're at the mercy of whatever the medical community is saying is appropriate for those particular students. So if not for those students, right now we have 24 students at therapeutic placements. We would have 21, which is actually down from last academic year as well, which perhaps points to your question about, how are we going to start to see the impact in district? I think we may have already seen a little bit of that, if not for those 3 outplacements.
Yes, and we brought some back. So that's right, that's important to note as well. It's just that another issue that we're facing, and the other Valley superintendents and special ed directors, it's just a problem that we have a lot of kids that are moving around. They may move from one Valley district to another, and then they're moving from various places. So that's also another big issue, because you never know if somebody comes in and this is what their IEP is dating, and so that's an issue as well.
Yes.
As well as the McKinney-Vito, the homeless.
Right. And it seems like
as well.
it's the percentage of students that we receive is greater than the percentage of students that leave us. They like being in Seymour, and they don't leave at the same rate that we receive students that have these placements.
They come, they want to stay.
Yeah,
That's
which is a
that's what we
compliment
want.
to us in a lot of
Yes,
ways.
it is.
And like the meeting that Jay and I had there, we spoke to the representative that was there because the RESCs who provide some of this stuff there don't have enough monitoring, in the opinion of the superintendents and stuff there, as far as charging. If one RESC decides I want to charge this, and that's our RESC, and the other RESC is cheaper, you have all that where there's, unlike when we negotiate contracts, we compare what the other districts are paying and doing and stuff. There doesn't seem to be the RESC are doing the same thing. They just seem to be on their own and raising their costs.
Dr. Boyle, could you go back to the chart or the slide that showed our programs from 2016? Yeah, this one right here. So I want to make sure that I understand. So the growth between October 2016 and 2024, again, are all the positions we're looking at as of October 2024 funded out of our local education area budget, our LEA budget, or are some of them being funded through IDEA?
IDEA grant right now allows for a significant portion of 4 special ed teachers and 1 inclusion facilitator.
And
for
one
their
inclusion
salary.
facilitator, so those folks are in there.
That's 78% of the 57.
Great, thanks. So 4 teachers and an inclusion, or half an inclusion?
We took the 78% and divided it out. I don't believe it covers the entire salary.
Not the entire
for
salary,
everybody,
but
but
Okay.
it's a significant portion.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a quick follow-up. I'm curious to know what our trends in paraeducators are between the same number of time, same period of time.
I could work with the business office to see if I could identify that.
Thank you.
We can give that to you.
Thank you.
I don't have that data captured already, so
So
it
we
would
have-
take some
Okay.
work
Thanks.
to go
The
back. but-
financial part as well.
But I'm sure we can figure that out.
Just had a question about what kind of professional development have you been able to offer the department staff over the last couple of years?
Are you looking for academic or social emotional or all
You know, you have a certain number of days. How have you used those days?
So some of that is of the days that are district determined. A lot of it in the last couple of years have been related to either updates in the reading curriculum or when we brought in a new math program a few years ago. You know, trends moving forward. You know, this year we've also included the ruler training for the elementary level. Upcoming, I'm already planning for new assessment instruments. The new Woodcock Johnson 5 just came out, which
Makes me feel old, yeah.
yeah, now it's all computer-based, so we're kind of starting over again. Yeah, I remember being trained on the Woodcock R, but.
It had an autographed copy
Oh.
for my district.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, we'll have that new test kit smell, so there's some of that training that needs to take place. A lot of it, though, has been really focused on building level initiatives that are, how are we supplementing? You know, when we brought in the new math series, we also brought in an intervention series, so training on the intervention series, training on, you know, just the increased need for identification of dyslexia has been a portion of it. And then there's a certain percentage of days, as you know, that are teacher directed that, you know, that's been kind of why, you know, it covers the range. A couple of years ago, we spent a lot of time on CT sets as well, so along with a lot of other districts that I didn't reference before. That was probably the lion's share of the training a few years back. But in recent years, it's been more focused on the science of reading.
And a lot of the professional development too has been the emphasis with co-teaching and collaboration of achievement goals, the assessment goals, which has been very important. I think we're most proud of what Bungie Elementary and Chatfield with the ruler, with Yale University with the social and emotional program, and also the middle school is going to be applying for the grant to be a part of the Yale, and that will be free based upon with that collaboration. So we're excited about that. So there'll be both the elementaries and the middle school, and then on to the high school with their type of program.
And then there are certain programs that have,
Peer mediation
you
has
know,
been
peer
great.
mediation at the high school.
It's been great.
The elementary have also had opportunity. This is our, the state of Connecticut has every 3 years, we're part of a cohort for working with the New England Assistive Tech. So this is our year that we have, so we have a presenter coming in later this month, as a matter of fact, on augmentative communication devices for students that are, you know, they're maybe nonverbal or minimally verbal, or they're selectively mute and they have devices. You know, we have training coming in. So then there's program specific.
Yes.
And then we also bring in outside consultant to help with our REACH program and our CATS program to work on our social emotional behavioral systems. Those are specific to individual programs. So we have different things like that as well. That's may not cover for every staff member, but those specifically to those programs.
All right, thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Sorry. All right, thanks.
Okay. Excellent job, Dr. Boyle. Thank you. I want to mention in the audience, I know it's on the agenda to be approved, Patrick Taylor.
Yeah, what's next?
Okay, so you
I think we're up next. Well, we have the financial
Yeah.
report, but I don't see Mr. Bucci, so we'll move on. Consent agenda with the minutes, couple hirings, including the school security officer who's going to be replacing the school resource officer. And I'm assuming this is effective immediately, right?
Yes, we had no choice. Once our great school resource officer, who I had the highest respect for, he did a great job. When we lost him, then we had no choice. We no longer have a school resource officer. It was actually part of the memorandum of agreement, but they couldn't get anybody to apply for the position. So it's added to our budget now of $40-some thousand, and it lessened their budget of $100-some thousand with the less police car. But he did an amazing job, so I just want to say thank you for all his great services.
All right, so I do need a motion for the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
A second.
Motion by Stefan, second by Mrs. Bruno. Any discussion?
Just through the chair, I wasn't at the meeting on the first, so I was going to abstain, but I don't want to abstain from the whole thing, so I guess we could just remove that one item.
Which,
A1,
the regular meeting?
I guess, I don't know, does it matter?
No,
No.
you don't have to be here to.
Yeah, so, I know, we've gone back and forth.
All right, anyone else? All right, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstains, so that passes 7-0-0. Mr. Taylor, welcome to Seymour.
You want to say anything, Mr. Henry? Introduction about him?
Good evening, everyone. Just some background on Mr. Taylor. I met Mr. Taylor while I was working at the State Attorney's Office. He was at the time the court liaison officer for Milford. I've seen him every day. I would see him, and I would have requests for him and jobs for him that the prosecutors wanted. So he became an important part of making my job easier. Very professional, very easygoing. Comes from a background, he was an SRO at Milford at a certain point, a dog handler. I think very highly of him. He's a perfect fit. So.
It's great to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, and you live in Oxford, right? You have twins? And they'll be.
I have twins, 14 years old, one of each.
He hit the jackpot.
And again, to reiterate, I think Pat has a tremendous knowledge of the job. His interest that he's talked about with Mr. Lucky and I during the interview seemed to be a good fit for the high school students and the students in general for the district. So.
And a good chunk of my time, of the 20 years, I spent 8 years in the high school as an SRO. So this is kind of like home to me, establishing relationships with the school community is awesome. And I like that I had an opportunity to get to do that.
And you will be taking him down to introducing to our chief of police,
Yes,
right?
so.
That's very important in that
Yeah,
collaboration.
like I do with Mr. Rogers, as we onboard him, I'll bring him around to all the schools, meet all the admins. He's already met our security staff and had conversations with them. We'll bring him down. We like everybody on patrol, especially days, to get a look at what he looks like, know what he's wearing every day, and be able to identify him in case that there's an emergency and they have to identify him.
Now, Ed, is he going to be armed, correct?
Yes, so
So we have to have him come back, or at least we have to approve, I believe that's what we do?
No, it's in the
So
contract.
I can just update you on that. So Pat's been very proactive in onboarding. He has his HR 218 qualifications from the police department. He went and got his fingerprints done today. They came back clear already today. He has all the Connecticut requirements for, to carry inside the school system. So he is ready to go. So with your approval tonight, we can start him tomorrow morning. So.
Great.
All
Like I
right.
said, make sure you take him down to see the chief because,
Yes.
it's so important.
All right, nothing removed. Item 7, discussion and possible action. We just have a CABE policy. Hopefully everybody looked at that. This is basically just allowing businesses and.
Our FBLA, what Mr. Lucky had asked for, where it will give them some, I'd reached out to CABE and to the attorney, and Attorney Dugas said this is exactly what you need to do. You got to reach out to CABE, and this was their sample policy, so it will give some flexibility. And you gave us the latitude with the administration and the superintendent, so I thought this was good.
Right, in any of these situations, I believe we also added in there that we'll just be informed of any of the partnerships that.
Absolutely, it's crucial that you as a board.
Right, yeah, it's basically the last paragraph where we added a little more than what CABE did.
So we'll send that.
That added the board to be involved too, both ways. If the administration would like to contact the boards, or if we as a board see something that we may have a question about, where we can review the offers.
The prerogative, so.
That was the biggest change that we made with the CAVE policy.
You have a question, guys?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, is it open for discussion?
Sure. Yeah.
So just a couple things. One, it notes, the board grants the superintendent administration this discretion with the understanding that acceptance of assistance from businesses may require the school system to allow businesses to identify themselves as the providers of the assistance. So in reading that, I almost feel like it covers us from some of that other conversation we've had in regards to signage. So I just want to make sure that I'm reading that correctly.
Yeah, there is a separate policy that we kind of pushed off until the next.
Right, yeah.
But I just want to make sure though that, because, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, I don't think this is, we have one specific for signage.
But then I feel like this one then also kind of allows the supersedence of that, because the statement says, so I think we just have to be careful, because it says that if we allow them to advertise or provide assistance, which we don't have to specifically grant what that assistance is, it does allow them to identify themselves as a provider of assistance. So if it's financial assistance, again, we don't identify what the assistance means. They could say, well, we give you money, that's assistance, we're gonna put a sign up.
I'm confused, James. Sorry, where are you
I'm sorry,
referencing?
It's in the
Section one.
opening paragraph sentence.
So I'm under section 1, defined rules shall govern. I mean, I look at it as a good thing, that it allows us to become more open to that. But I just am not sure if the wording is too ambiguous, or too, then the second follow-up with that is number 2, where it says advertising school publications. It says the board does authorize advertising in student publications and programs for athletic events and other students, providing such advertising is consistent with the guidelines. So again, if you advertise, what are the guidelines for student publications? Is that referenced, or is that somewhere else? And I'm not trying to make it more complicated, because I think it's good. I'm in support of it, but I just think we're opening ourselves up to.
This is very general. The other situation, when you get into signage and sponsorships, we'd like to come up with an additional, that this is for donations with the FBLA and whatever in general. This is just a generic policy. It does encompass with that one word. I mean, that one sentence, it entails a lot. But as far as the signage, we really didn't get into that discussion. We kept that separate. And we'd like to come back with something else on that.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a
And also-
music store that would like to, provide instruments or something, it's much quicker to go through the administration than to wait what possibly could be, 59 days to come to us. When it comes to the signs, that's real specific about who gives the authority to put them up and how long they should be up and when they should come down. Is it the word assistance we're hung over?
Well, again, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Right.
To me, I'm interpreting this as saying, I gave some instruments, I should be able to put a sign up, because it's saying I'm allowed to identify myself as a provider of the assistance, right? So I think it's a good thing. I don't even know if we need to include the other policy, because to me, I think this supersedes it.
When you see it, we certainly do.
Yeah, and I think our attorney will tell us the same thing, and that's why I said in regards, whether it's town signage or school sports or different programs, that's why I said too, it would be nice to get the attorney's advice, and that's what we'll reach back out to him in regards, because it does involve a lot.
And we added that extra piece to it, because I'm gonna make the assumption that any of these will come and we'll at least either see them in the informational section or consent
They have to
agenda.
be, absolutely, yeah, because that's why the board needs to be informed, that's why we stated it that way.
Is this a first read, or do we want to approve and adopt it?
Actually,
is-
with the two-thirds
This is,
vote.
we're hoping
Yes.
to accept and adopt.
Accept and
Yeah.
adopt.
So
with
we
the
don't have to do it
two-thirds
next
vote.
month as well.
And I'm ready to make that motion.
Okay, go ahead.
I will move that the board accept and adopt policy number P3281.1A, business non-instructional operations.
Okay, so there is no P, sorry.
Oh.
I don't believe there's a
Is
P in
P
the.
for page?
Yeah, no, it's I think it's just policy
Okay.
3281.1.
Okay.
A is the page, so we have a motion and second by the Kristens. Any other discussion?
Sorry, so we do also have, though, a guideline for content of student publications. That's in a separate policy.
That's,
We'll get it, we'll make sure that we have yes.
Because like in the old days, the booster club would do that on their own. And so if they were to do that, is that now taking?
well, the booster clubs still have to abide by the building principal and the superintendent. They just
Yeah,
can't
there's
put
some
anything
guidelines
out
there.
I
There
think this
really
sort
are.
of started the snowballing between this one and the one we deferred to the next policy committee meeting about signage, till we get some clearer.
And honestly,
advice.
Jay, we've got to get advice of the attorney, and we just want a win-win situation. And that's why I've also said, we want to inform First Select Woman and even involve her with discussion about the town signage and sports and stuff under the umbrella of the school district. But it's pretty heavy stuff. And I'm not an attorney, and I can't really answer.
That'll
That's
probably
why we gotta
come
reach
next
out.
month if we, policy meets again.
Well, I think when we do, sorry, I don't, go ahead, Mr. Herman.
I just wanted to build on and give my perspective on the line that Jay is referring to. The board realizes that many businesses wish to have their contribution to the school system recognized publicly, and the board authorizes, I just lost my place here. That is that term require, right? The assistance of a business may require the school system to allow businesses. That's not saying that we have to let them put up a 10 by 10 bulletin board. That's saying something like, if it's curriculum material that Sikorsky is donating, it might be referenced as supplied by Sikorsky, that type of thing. So,
Can you tell me where you are?
we still have control. I'm reading from the same exact thing that you were reading, number one, item number one.
From,
We understand that accepting of assistance from businesses may require the school system to allow businesses to identify themselves as the provider of the assistance, but doesn't say they require it. It doesn't say we have to let them do it in whatever the way they want.
That's right.
We're still in control of the how.
okay.
Yeah, because the other policy, Jay, the signage policy, we had a big discussion on that because there's I don't know if I want to use the word conflict, but there's a question about if it's Pop Warner participating and accepting it, that's not the same as when the high school team is using. There's a difference there. So that's why we want to get more clarification. That, I think, is what you're hinting at, Jay. That's a different thing. That's why we pushed it off, for us to look at it more clearly and get more advice from the attorney about how to make sure we differentiate. Because the question will become, if Pop Warner plays a game and they have signage up.
We're not talking about that policy right now. We're on
No, I
discussion
know.
of this
But I'm just trying to answer, I think I know where Jay's coming from. That's it. Okay, I'll stop.
All right. Anyone else? All right, carried. We do require 2/3, so 2/3 is 7, hopefully, right? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstained? All right, so that passes 7-0-0. Okay, item 8, the informational section, a couple hirings, school events, any questions on that? Cool, item 9, oh, sorry.
I did have a question about, so will we be posting a social studies position at the high school? Or whatever?
It's already posted,
Okay,
and a math position is posted,
okay.
and an English position. Go ahead. He can-
Yes.
And that was posted, I believe, on the board agenda.
It's already,
Clear on?
yes, it's already
Clear
down
on, we
there.
had one internal candidate,
Mhm.
and no external candidates.
Okay.
So I interviewed her. She is dual certified as well as her
Mhm.
492 for that matter. So at the start of next school year, she will be coming forward from the English department to the social studies department, also as a role of the social studies chair for the social studies department. She has all certifications.
Mhm.
She used to teach social studies, but she used it at middle school as well as her administrative. So that would require us then, we already have one English position posted, Christine is retiring.
Mhm.
We'd have to post a second English position for,
Okay.
Oh, I don't like that. Okay. Not much we do. Any other questions? She's a great teacher. I'm just sorry to lose her in the English realm. Okay. Item 9, Board of Ed comments. I'll be very brief. Just thank you to the Kristens and Pete for getting beat up last week at the Board of Finance meeting. It went well. There wasn't too many questions. The Board of Finance is going to deliberate and probably call us back at some point. I think that was it. I don't have anything else. We'll go down this way. Mr. Stamella, any comments?
But just that I had a great day today, reading at Bungay School for Connecticut Loves to Read Day, and I had the great opportunity to do a first and third grade, which happened to have a connection to me personally, meaning my 2 granddaughters. But there were, Dr. Compton was there, Mrs. Dragonis was there, Mrs. Feige was there.
Mr. Lucky was there.
Yeah, that's right, yep.
Mr. O'Rourke was there. He
Yep.
had to leave.
But they still were short people, so hopefully other board members, and I know that most of you work, not like me, if you can have an opportunity to go at any of the schools, not just Bungay.
I don't recall seeing anything about that.
We'd sent it out, it was a lot of stuff. You all received a lot of emails. A lot of emails.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Anything else?
No, I'm good.
Stefan?
I'm all set.
Ms. Harmon?
No, all good, thank you.
Mrs. Bruno?
I just didn't, at the beginning of the meeting, get to share my, my sympathy regarding Lucille McGinn. I was able to work with her for 3 years at Bungay School too, and she was a very special person and made quite an impact in her time there. So my thoughts go out to her daughter, Colleen, and her family.
Jay?
I also share my sympathies about Mrs. McGinn. She was a wonderful person and always so bright to see, and I hope she's reunited with her husband who passed away not too long ago last year. He was also a wonderful person, a big reader, and very active in the school community. Also, I want to thank those board members and Dr. Compton and the administrative staff and the nutrition services staff for their help with putting on the cave breakfast this year. It was a little short notice, but I thought there was a lot of really great conversation there. You know, it's a little hard for us to facilitate it, but it seemed to have just taken off well, and there was a lot of positive comments. I learned a lot about special ed and other things there. So thank you for those of you who had the opportunity to take the time to come. And maybe we'll host it again next year. Maybe we'll let somebody else do it. But, thank you.
Lori?
I just want to say that the Seymour Middle School cheer is going to have their last competition this Friday night in Oxford. If anybody wanted to go to support them, and sad that it's coming to an end, especially having an 8th grader. She has had a great experience with the middle school cheer and the coaches. I really encourage anyone moving up to middle school that's interested in cheer to do the middle school cheer. It's been great. So I'm kind of sad that that's coming to an end, but hopefully she'll start a new one with the high school, because the high school girls were doing great too this season and this year. So very proud of our cheer families.
All right. Yes, sir.
One other thing I forgot, and, I tournament games tomorrow. The girls are at 5 o'clock at the high school. The boys are at 7 o'clock at the middle school. So in case people want to go, they're two different sites.
All right, Dr. Compton, over to you.
Yeah, very, very quickly, the Read Across America today at Bungie this morning was very good. I enjoy getting to read to the kindergarten students. We always have a good time when I go in. Also, I want to bring your attention, that's on the Facebook, and we're going to be still sending out more publicity about it in support of the walkathon. And that This Is Me movement and supporting that. It's going to be March the 25th, so I want everybody to put that on the calendars and come out and support that on Saturday, on March the 25th, and we'll be reminding you more with the flyer. They put a lot of work into that. We want to totally support it. It's a great initiative. It's going to be part of our One Student's Capstone project, and I'm just very, very proud of the effort and the support. Basketball teams, again, I attended the game this weekend on Saturday. It was good to see the girls play, and of course the boys as well. And as Mr. Stormello said, they're advancing on tomorrow night at 5 with the girls and 7 here at the middle school. Also, kudos to the cheerleaders and their great success that was brought out in the student report. They placed 3rd place, and then also they've been recognized to go on and further competitions. They've had a great year with this competition. Same thing with the dance team, and they're moving on to compete too, more regionals, so I'm just very proud of them. Another thing, I'm very proud of all the great work that the high school's done in regards with the New England accreditation visit. That is going to happen Wednesday and Thursday. Thank you, Mr. Lucky, for all the great work, and also with your staff. So they're going to be visiting the high school Wednesday and Thursday. So I'm going to send you an email out about that and the schedule. So that's all I have tonight. I think it's just real important to support the high school and this visit.
All right. Any questions for Dr. Compton? All right. Hearing none, it's that time.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do we have a
Second. Keep the
All those in
Christians
favor?
on a roll.